Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I know it's been a little while. Today, we are in something a little bit different than our usual BMW content. This is going to be part of the POV driving impression series, which I'm going to rename Hot Take and kind of change the format a little bit. You'll see as we get into it, I'm ripping a little bit on Matt Fair's one take, except I can never do anything in one take. With me, Frisk, the owner, was kind enough to lend me his Fiesta ST for a video. This is something I've kind of always wanted to drive. But here we go. It's a 2019 Fiesta ST. It's the last model year, right?
Correct. Last model year for the American market and the last hot hatch made by an American automaker.
And you said it's mostly stock, very minor mods?
The only modifications in it are a set of Bilstein B6 struts. They're monotube struts, and that's it. Everything else is bone stock.
So it's pretty stock Fiesta ST. It's pretty hard to find one of these now, and I'm really glad you let me have this opportunity. I've always wanted to drive one of these, but without further ado, let's hop on the road. All right, driving a Fiesta ST. And like I just said, this is something I've always kind of wanted to do. I looked at these in high school and they were just kind of out of my budget range. They were a little bit too much. In retrospect, the way the market went, maybe buying one would have been the better the better decision, but you said you're pretty happy with this car, right?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I daily it all summer, and I couldn't be happier. It gets great gas mileage on the highway. It's great gas mileage in the city, and it's still fun to drive.
Yeah, I think some initial impressions that I got of this car was the steering is very tight.
I've heard it described as like a go-kart, where you point it in a direction, it is absolutely going in that direction.
Yeah, it's funny, I usually don't like using the go-kart to describe how a car feels, but that's honestly the best way.
It's so small, it has to be a go-kart, right?
Yeah, it has to be a go-kart, and okay. I was gonna say, are you gonna, okay.
Yeah, light it up. You do get a little bit of torque steer in there, a little bit, but they've managed to really compensate that with the torque vectoring, and it's really all just through electronic braking via the computer.
Yeah.
But it manages to stay really planted. You'd really expect that to want to take you just dead straight as you put that much torque through the front tires, and it doesn't. It's just solid.
Yeah, and the steering is
solid.
Yeah, solid.
I mean, you are planted. Like, this is a really great car, and it handles what I'd imagine like a Miata does. Though I haven't driven one, but you know, it's pretty similar to Miata. It's the same horsepower, roughly, depending on the generation of the Miata. A similar wheelbase. Now, the big difference here is it's much more top-heavy.
Yeah, that's kind of, so definitely in that corner, I felt there's a little bit of, there's a bit of roll, a little bit of, I don't want to say uneasiness, because it's very predictable. You can predict the roll, and it leans into it. But I think that's more of a stock suspension thing. So you did say this is on Bilsteins, right?
Yep.
The ride isn't too bad. It's definitely, it hugs the corners nicely. I mean, this is a lot of fun. This honestly, yeah, this is like, they don't make cars like this anymore. The steering is very tight, so this is definitely, yeah.
Right?
like I took that at 60, which is,
that's just silly fun, right? Like you shouldn't be able to take a sub-economy car and do that corner at that speed and have that much fun with it.
Exactly, you shouldn't, but you can, and I love that. The shifter feels great. It's notchy, it's a good feel. Downshifting, I mean, you blip it, there's a little bit of rev hang, which actually, what's interesting is usually rev hang is intrusive, and I don't like it, but on this car, it helps you. I feel like it kind of allows you to kind of fit with the flow of the car better.
Yeah.
Because especially like 1 to 2, because the gearing is so aggressive, the rev hang kind of helps you smoothen it out a little bit, so it isn't as like jarring. Because there's been a couple times where like I've shifted this and you can kind of feel like it's a chunk, but I don't mind it at all. The computer aids in this car is not too bad, and right now we are in regular mode, which feels really good. And then tell me a little bit about the overboost. I've kind of heard you go from 187 to what was like 190?
198. So stock, the car makes about 182 horsepower, and that's right around, I believe, 5,500 RPM. That is pushing about 18 pounds of boost. For 20 seconds at wide open throttle, it will allow the turbo to kick up to 24 pounds of boost, which, if you know anything about turbo boost, that's a fair amount. And it will do that for a full 20 seconds. Now, if you do that for a full 20 seconds and take your foot off to, say, shift to the next gear, you're good to go for another 20 seconds.
So it'll keep it, so it'll reset the timer if you change gears.
As soon as you let off that throttle, it will reset the timer. So the whole thing's ready to go and just boost, boost, boost.
I see. So it just won't let you do like you're doing a, not really do this on the street, but like a top speed run.
Right.
It wouldn't let you just stay in it the whole time, because I imagine it'd be very stressful on the drivetrain, and maybe it could take it, maybe it couldn't. I mean, it's hard to say. I wonder what so I don't know if these have it, but the Focus STs have what's called like the Ford Performance tune.
I don't believe these do, because I haven't heard of it. These are generally, like, the stock tune is only conservative in one area, and that's generally torque. This is a very, very torquey motor. It's a 1.6 liter. It's very, very torquey in the sense that, like, it's about 215 foot-pounds stock. Now, any tune without any bolt-ons, any type of hardware modification is going to push you up a good 20 foot-pounds easily. So you do end up adding quite a bit more torque, but we are kind of maxed out for horsepower.
Right.
Which is kind of just part and parcel with what the engine is.
Well, you don't, I mean, what tire size, like what's the width of these tires?
These are, I believe, 205s.
That's you don't really need more power on 205s. I mean, that's a relatively skinny tire.
Relatively skinny, especially for like the 17s. Now, again, it's on a Fiesta, so compared to what a 175 for a stock Fiesta, it's much wider.
See how much power this has in first.
She'll get squirrely on you.
Yeah.
That was actually it.
Oh, well.
That's okay. We'll come around.
I'll find somewhere to turn around. This has a lot of power. Wow.
I mean, the torque is serious. It is not kidding around. That's what I was saying. Like, if you put a tune on it, you can get more torque out of it. I don't know if you really need more torque.
No, you don't need more in this car.
It's one of those where you can make the tires chirp if you want to.
Yeah.
Or you could just get high 30s gas mileage going back and forth to work. So if you want to, you can hit it here.
Oh, that's a hard rev cut. Move, birds. I'm coming in hot. Oh yeah, and you feel the boost. It kicks in. This is a foot flat to the floor car, and as you said, the car hides how much power it has from you.
Yeah, so if you're driving it around town, you're not going to notice, because you're not going to be hitting the boost nearly as often. It feels like an economy car. But then if you want to stand on this thing, it lets you know that it has power. That the steering wheel tightens in your hand.
Yes.
It's just raring to go. It's raucous. It's a party. It's a Fiesta.
It's a Fiesta. This is a party car.
Right? It's crazy.
It's great. Oh no, there's a guy up there. No, turn on the highway. Yeah, I love this car. This is honestly, this is kind of how I thought it would be. It's rev happy.
Yep.
I mean, it's only a 1.6, so you don't get that low end grunt, but like it doesn't matter. You're having fun. This is a very fun car to drive.
It doesn't have low end grunt, but it does have low end torque. Now you're not going to hear it with, like, say, a 2.0 or a 2.5, where you're going to be like rumbly, and you're like, oh yeah, I know it's here. This one almost surprises you. It almost feels like there's a different car depending on how you drive it. Like I said, it gets great gas mileage, but you will have nothing but smiles if you want to get on this thing and just drive it sportingly.
Right. Yeah, and even like at 3, like you have a good amount of torque there. It's not really.
Yeah.
It's not a slouch by any means. Which button turns into sport mode?
There's ESC.
ESC off. So that So what changes the sport mode make?
Sport mode is going to change the amount of slip allowed by your tires before it starts applying brake. So you can have more wheel spin before it starts to step in. And I believe it changes the tightness of the electronic steering, because this is all drive-by-wire.
Right.
None of it is electronic. It doesn't have a power steering pump. It's all electronic. But because of that, it can change how it reacts when you're driving. So you can have a really nice tight turn in a parking lot, and you can also have a very reactive steering situation in a hard corner at speed.
Yeah, I mean, I will say maybe this is the Bilsteins, but over some of these bumps, especially the turns, you definitely feel it. It's very like, it's tight. That's the best way to describe it. Not harsh, it's not crashy, it's tight. But
and tight is a good word for it. You feel it a lot in Michigan roads, right? So
yeah, I mean, it only gets so good in Michigan.
Right. The good news is, as far as this road goes, that was the worst of it. So
right.
We've got smoother sailing ahead. Lives in the corners.
I will say that definitely with the sport mode, I already noticed immediately in the steering, it's a bit more
tight.
I don't know if tight's the right word for it, because I feel like it
described as twitchy.
Yeah, it got easier, but it's more responsive.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting feeling. I don't really know how to describe it. I will say that definitely when you get in the power 1 and 2, you feel a little bit of torque steer.
Yes, you do. 1 and 2 really, because those are the
your high torque gears.
Yeah.
Definitely in third, you feel a little bit, but it's not really. It just it's more there than anything.
Yeah.
It's not really like impacting you. But yeah, avoid the raccoons if I do. Oh yeah, okay.
Right.
That definitely gives me a good feel for the sports steering. And we're not gonna light up the tires in this car, but
it will.
Yeah, it will. It will.
It absolutely will. It feels like a fast car. It wants to tell you that it's a fast car. It's lying to you. It is not a fast car.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it feels like you're going like crazy fast. It feels like you're driving a race car. It's a Fiesta.
Yeah, even in like that big pole you did. I mean, we were like normal highway speeds. Like it wasn't. We're like breaking the law. It wasn't. By no means was it like unsafe. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour in this car to have fun. This car is not meant for that type of speed.
It lives in the pocket of 3rd and 4th gear on corners. That is where you want to have it, because it really expresses itself, and you really get to feel how well engineered Ford made the steering on this. You can pass them here. And the good news is it has
good
enough
brakes
on the top end to really easily do highway freeway passes. It's just a really solid car for what I need it for, and what I need it for is just going around town.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's essentially a compromise, right? Just like every hot hatch is. It's not a dedicated sports car. It's not a dedicated family cruiser. It's not this, that, and the other. It's a little bit of all of them. And unfortunately, that means you have to lose some things to gain the others. I can haul a large cooler, a tent, all my camping gear with this, but I don't get, a Miata.
Yeah, you get a bit of everything, and I think there's nothing wrong with that in a car.
Yeah, you can take 4 people. Will the people in the back be happy about it? Not at all. This is a Fiesta. It's a party, and some people aren't having a good time. They're the ones in the back.
Honestly, I sat in the back seats. I don't think that this car. I sat in a coupe G37X the other day. That was bad. My head was on the roof.
Right.
I was like slouching the seat. That was really bad. It's fine. It's all right.
Yeah.
I could live with it. That car was, in my opinion, like your worst.
Rough.
It was rough. I rode it for 2 hours on Grand River. Yeah, after my back it hurt getting out of it.
God,
I don't think you'd really get that in this car. Maybe you're a little stiff, but it's not bad at all. Okay, final takes. I want to thank Frisk for allowing me to take this Fiesta ST out. It really has been one of my bucket list cars. I've looked at it since high school, just kind of see what all the rave is about. I think the biggest question that people are going to ask about this car is, how does it hold up years later? These cars, the earliest ones are almost 10 years old. This one is younger than that, but the cars remain very similar throughout the production span. and I would say that it holds up pretty well. It's still fun, it's tossable, it's quick, not fast, but it makes you feel like you're going fast. I think for a car like this, that very much makes sense. It doesn't have as much power as, say, the Focus ST, but I think given the handling and the character this car has, most people that buy these and drive it won't really matter. I think if you're considering one of these cars, you should definitely go drive one and experience it. If you do need the extra space that a Focus offers, I can see scenarios where maybe this would not be enough, but I think for most people, this is plenty.
I think that everyone should drive a Fiesta ST before you die. Find a friend, find a neighbor, maybe you'd have to do some light stalking, and ask if you can drive their car. These things are fun. They're fun to drive, and everyone should drive one.
I absolutely agree.
With the driving portion over, I'm going to incorporate a new score system in these videos. Each car will have 3 scores, 10 points each, for a total of up to 30 points. Our first score is the daily score. Think of this as the how livable is it score, incorporating specs of the car, features, reliability, etc. on paper. The second score is the weekend score. This is going to be more of the how fun or eventful is it, driving experience, is it cool with the young people, etc. And the third is the should you buy it score. This is the combination score, taking everything into consideration such as value, ease of care, and frankly just how good is the car in the real world. So on the daily score, I give the Fiesta ST a 6.5. On the weekend score, it gets a 5. And then as should you buy it score, I'd give it a high score of an 8, totaling up our final score to 19.5. The Fiesta ST is a really good driver's car, but it's lacking power compared to its bigger brother, the Focus ST, and frankly, most modern performance cars. It also lacks the cool factor. Most people won't notice it or look twice. The Fiesta ST is also small, but if you don't have a large family, this might not matter to you. As for features, it has what you need, but I can't give it a higher daily score because it's lacking things like self-driving, blind spot sensors, etc., and it does ride like a higher end version of a cheap car. That said, the car drives fantastic on the back roads. The steering is good, the shifter is connected, and the car is very playful. It's also affordable to run and very reliable. This is a car you buy to drive, not to show off, and being able to pick up a lower mileage one at or less than $20,000 makes this a used car bargain. I think if you're in the market for a driver's car and a daily, hit 2 birds with 1 stone and buy this. The drivetrain is proven to be stout and the whole package is just so well put together. For the price new and especially used, you really can't beat this. Well done, Ford. I really enjoyed driving this car. Comment down if you have any questions. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new here. Also make sure to check my Instagram for updates as well as videos before they come out. And feel free to reach out if you want to have your car shot. I'm always in the mood to shoot a video with an interesting car. Take care everyone, and I will see you in the next one.